It's Touching Bases with Marty Brenneman, brought to you by Farmers Insurance Group. You'll appreciate how fast, fair, and friendly your Farmers agent can be.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Reds and the Atlanta Braves right here at Riverfront Stadium under fine weather conditions as the National League's 108th season kicks off at Riverfront, and, of course, a traditional Major League opening game. The Reds will be sending right-hander Mario Soto to the mound, making his second straight opening day assignment. He was on the mound last year against the Chicago Cubs, and to nobody's great surprise, Joe Torre going with 43-year-old right-hander knuckleballer Phil Niekro as his pitching choice. Our guest on Touching Bases, a Cincinnati native beginning his first full year as skipper of the Reds, Russ Nixon. And I'll be back with Russ when we continue right after this. Russ Nixon, our guest on Touching Bases today as the Reds kick off a new baseball season. Russ, your first full season, and I guess it's sometimes tough to put into words how you feel about a certain situation and a unique experience. This certainly has got to qualify as that for you, and I wonder your thoughts right now.
Well, this morning I got up, my wife says, "Aren't you excited?" And I says, "I don't know yet." So about 10:30 I called her back and I said, "I'm starting to get the feel of things down here." But really, heck, I'm excited as heck about this. I'm finally realizing just what the heck is going on here. And damn glad I'm part of it, really.
Russ, can you think back to the first opening day game you spent as a player in Major League Baseball? I'm sure that's a once-in-a-lifetime feeling, too.
Well, I sure can. It was 1957, and it's about 275 miles north here in Cleveland, Ohio. And that particular day, I was a spectator as a young rookie sitting and watch a guy like Bob Lemon open up with Jim Higgin catching. And so, that was a team of big stars, and I was just tickled to be part of it. Of course, then that changed just like it happened here. The big stars, of course, were either traded or they got old on them, and then they had to rebuild, and I was part of that rebuilding program. So I'm familiar with all that right now.
You've been around here long enough as a coach, though, to know the total uniqueness of an opening day game in Cincinnati. I guess it's unlike anything else in baseball.
Well, it certainly is. It's like none other. The way the spectators come out here on that opening day and all the fanfare, it's just beautiful. And Marty, I tell you what, I'm excited all about this.
Russ Nixon's our guest. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just a moment. We're visiting with Russ Nixon before the Reds begin the 1983 baseball season here at Riverfront against the Western Division champion Atlanta Braves. Russ, this ball club, throughout spring training, you have not made any predictions whatsoever about this team in terms of where it might finish. But how do you feel in a general type of way after going through 24 spring training games and the workouts in the complex before the spring games got underway, and now you go at it for real?
Marty, I really have a positive feeling about this ball club. I'm very pleased with the way they accepted their responsibilities this spring, and I get that real good feeling about this year. I really do, and it's up, and the players have given me that. They've I think have got the look in their eye. They've dedicated themselves to improving themselves. And gosh, when you see that with your players, you have to have a good feeling. And we're a good ball club. It's just a matter of whether we get the breaks or what. But they're going to be playing hard.
The thing that impressed Joe and I as the games unfolded down in Florida and of course finishing out in Minneapolis the last 2 days, this club appears to be very fundamentally sound.
Well, that's what we went into camp early to do, and we've stressed it, and we worked at it, and we've used it in exhibition games, and by gosh, it showed the players that they can do some different things. It's given them more confidence, and it's going to make them better. And we have to play with a minimum of mistakes to stay in our ball games, and we've stressed that, and then they've taken to it. They like it.
Would you agree that the first couple of weeks, maybe the first 3 weeks of the season, very, very important to this team?
Well, yes, it is. It's very important to every club, but it's more important to us. We've got to get off to a good start. We've got to play, a good, sound baseball, and to get people back interested in us.
Obviously, if there is one deep-seated concern on your part as manager of this club, it would be the fact that there were periods during the spring when this club showed signs of having problems scoring runs as it did last year.
Well, certainly it's a concern to me. I saw it last year, and it's still in the back of my mind. And, we have put the same people back this year, so they're going to have to turn that around themselves and get to scoring some runs.
You've got two rookies in your opening day lineup today. Gary Reedus in left, Jeff Jones in right. I can't remember, and this is the 10th opening day I've been here, when this club has ever had two rookies in its starting lineup.
Well, they're pretty good rookies, I'll tell you that. Freitas is, of course, he's been talked about a lot, and people know quite a bit about him. Jeff Jones, nobody's really said too much about Jeff. My wife told me this morning it might be destiny.
I buy that.
Yeah, she says, you just look at the circumstances, the way Jeff made this club, what the heck? He's out there, and I tell you, that big son of a gun keeps swinging the bat. You never know what happens.
That's right. The offensive production, certainly you looked at people like Bench and Dreesen and Cedeno when he comes back, but vitally important for Johnny Bench to have a big year.
You better believe it is. John's very important to this ball club. He's hitting in the 4th slot, and he's going to have some people on base ahead of him. So, if he has any kind of year for us all, we're going to score some runs.
Well, as Joe always says, you can't go undefeated unless you win the first game. That's coming up in a matter of minutes, and we hope that when day's end comes that we'll be 1-0 and everybody will have a big afternoon.
Well, I hope so, Marty. I tell you, I'm excited about this, and I think the players are, and I think the people are going to like what they see.
Okay. The Reds and the Braves coming up right here at Riverfront Stadium, but right now, stay tuned on most of these same stations. Joe Nuxhall with a Turfside Show.
Hi, everybody. This afternoon, the Reds and the Atlanta Braves begin the 1983 season here at Riverfront Stadium. And for the Braves, knuckleballer Phil Niekro will go to the mound. For the Reds, it'll be Mario Soto. Our guest on turf side, Johnny Bench. And, of course, John begins his 16th season, or going through his 16th opener, however you want to look at it. But certainly always a big day in Cincinnati. We'll be back with Johnny after this word. Well, John, as we mentioned, 16 of them. And is this one a little more meaningful, or is there anything special about this one?
Well, it's not so bad at third base as it was last year. Obviously, it was a very trying time, difficult time for me. I felt like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs last year. I was scared to death out there, and I was very tense and very on edge. It was a very difficult day. It was a long season, and I feel much more relaxed and good about what's going to happen for the upcoming season.
John, we look back on all the openers that we talk about, and of course you were catching in most all of them, and when you look at an opening day here and you think of the great years, and we look into this year, certainly there's a lot of things that were very positive as we get ready to open this season.
Well, there was a lot of good and a lot of questionable things. I think everybody went through a little period where everything gelled and then kind of slumped off. We ran through some bad weather and really kind of got into the doldrums. I think spirits were high, exceptionally high, even though despite the weather and the way things went down there. And then for the last week and last 4 or 5 days, it really got to the point where everybody really was tired of the weather and it got down to the doldrums where you were ready to start the season. And then, of course, the trip to Minnesota and back here, and you really kind of hadn't adjusted. Everybody's sort of feeling their way around, and it's a lot of confusion. Opening day is always tradition here. Of course, we've never seen the Finley Parade downtown in all those years, and we don't know what everybody's doing right now in the bars, but hopefully they're all having a good time. They're anticipating hopefully a good opener. I think there's some doubts in a lot of people's minds, but we saw some good things in the spring, and we saw some 9 pitchers win 9 games down there, and that's kind of different, but we saw some well-pitched ball games from some of our starters and some of our people that are not going to be starters as far as long relief. And I think it showed some good things. I think we have some people that can generate some offense. We have some speed. We have some incredible speed that can help win some ball games. And if we stay a little healthy and we get these situations and positions straightened out, I think it can be a decent year.
John, opening day here in Cincinnati, certainly as we talk about Riverfront Stadium, and I guess your first opener was spent at Old Crosley Field.
Actually, I spent 3 openers at Crosley Field, 68, 9, and 70, before we came over to this stadium. And I don't know, it's always a little more flair and fanfare over at Crosley Field. Everything, was always, I think people were so more festive at that ballpark because they were very close to you and you knew everybody and everything was just standing around you. Here, it's more of a, dressy affair where everybody just sort of, you got to go in your suit, looks like, and your tie. You're close to downtown. You dress up. You're always sort of more fashionable here. It's a very clean and comfortable stadium, and I think people feel like that they come here. They just sort of meander down from downtown, and they don't really have to prepare themselves like they did at Crosley Field. They can't, they don't have to find, well, we got to get to the park early and park down here, and we got to walk. Here they can park downtown a couple of hours early and just meander around, and their mind can wander, and then all of a sudden they wander over to the park, which makes it kind of convenient and comfortable, and it's good for our downtown area.
John, of your openers, which one, or is there any one that stands out?
Well, I think the first one's always the best one, but I didn't get to start it. I actually was on the bench in 1968, and didn't get to catch till the 5th game. And then in '69, I got to catch against Montreal, and I got 1 for 4. Other than that, I had the bad knee, and it snowed here one time against San Diego, and I had to have shots in my knees. And then last year, of course, a different transition again because, you know, as the year before I was not playing, and last year I was playing at third base. A lot of hoots and calls and everything else that goes with it, and it's tough. You know, you want so badly to do well, and it's not really your right position, but you try your darndest, and you know, you improve. And I felt much more comfortable over third base this year, and we finally got away from Tampa, and that's about the best thing that can happen to anybody, and that's not to knock the city, but to knock that field.
John, for you, over the winter we talk about, you know, trying to get accustomed to third takes away from other aspects of the game. Is this year, now do you feel better, much better to play?
Well, I felt real good in the middle of the spring, and then up in Minnesota I didn't feel good at all. And right now, just, you know, I think I'm ready to get it going, ready to get all this thing out of the way. I'm not crazy about what happened the last couple of days with Minnesota and being up there. You know, I'd rather have the time to spend where I can just work on what, you know, my hitting and concentrate on this rather than we're having to concentrate on 6 different things from 6 different directions. How I'm going to get the van up, how I'm going to get the bags packed, how I'm going to do this. And you don't have 2 or 3 days really kind of acclimate yourself before you're really thrown into the lion's den. And but I'm about used to it. We've done this seem like for the last 6 years, so I'd like to see it change. But the only thing that's going to change is for us to go out and win opening day and get it off to a good start.
We'll vote for that, John. Have a good year, all of you guys.
Yes, all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Johnny Bench has been our guest.
It's the Reds on Radio. The 1983 Cincinnati Reds are on the air. Reds baseball is brought to you by Busch Beer. Remember, don't just reach for a beer, head for the mountains. By Marathon and Marathon dealers and distributors. Best in the long run. By Honda, makers of the Grand Slam new Honda Prelude. By Pepsi-Cola General Bottlers Incorporated of Cincinnati. By Frisch's, we never forgot what a restaurant ought to be. By the First National Bank of Cincinnati, first in Cincinnati with IRAs. And by Cincinnati Bell with business products and services that can help your office say hello tomorrow. Now for all the play-by-play action of Cincinnati Reds baseball, here's Marty Brennaman and Joe Nuxall.
Good afternoon, everybody. From Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, we bid you welcome to Reds baseball. A beautiful afternoon to kick off the National League's 108th Major League campaign. The traditional Major League opener today as the Reds take on the defending Western Division champion Atlanta Braves. A fine pitching matchup. Mario Soto, a 14-game winner, the winningest pitcher, and the undisputed ace on this Reds pitching staff goes today against right-hander, 43-year-old knuckleballer Phil Niekro. And we'll be back to take a look at the starting lineups in just a moment. If you're ready now, the starting lineups this afternoon. First for the Atlanta Braves, leading off and playing center field, Brett Butler. Batting second at shortstop, Rafael Ramirez. Hitting third and right field, Claudell Washington. Batting in the cleanup spot for the Braves in left field, Dale Murphy. Hitting number 5, third baseman Bob Horner. Batting sixth at first base, Chris Chambliss. Glenn Hubbard will play second base and bat number 7. Hitting 8th, the catcher, Bruce Benedict. And batting 9th and pitching, right-hander Phil Niekro. Once again for the Braves, it's Butler in center field, Ramirez at shortstop, Washington in right field. Murphy in left, Horner at third base, Chambliss at first, with Hubbard at second, Benedict catching, and Niekro pitching. For Cincinnati, Gary Reedus will lead off and play left field. Eddie Milner will bat in the 2 spot. He'll play center field. Davey Concepcion at shortstop, batting third. Johnny Bench will bat fourth and play third base. Danny Dreesen will hit fifth. He'll be at first base. Batting sixth, the second baseman, Ron Oster. Jeff Jones will open in right field and bat number 7. Hitting 8th at shortstop, catching Alex Trevino. And batting 9th and pitching for the Reds, right-hander Mario Soto. Once more for Cincinnati, Reedus in left field, Milner in center field, Concepcion at shortstop. Bench at third, Dreesen at first base, Oster at second, with Jones in right field, Trevino catching, and Soto pitching. Well, if you tried to map out what would be desirable weather conditions for the Major League opener here in Cincinnati, you absolutely could not have picked a better day. The temperatures are in the mid to upper 50s, blue skies overhead, a sunshiny afternoon, and as usual, the festive atmosphere surrounding probably the most unique opening day game in Major League Baseball from year to year. And they'll start to scratch the surfaces today of some very important questions as the Reds are about to be announced to come out of their first base dugout. One, can the Atlanta Braves successfully defend their Western Division championship with admittedly some pitching problems? And secondly, Joe, assuming the Reds are improved, how much improved?
Well, I think some of the answers, at least during the course of spring training, have come about, particularly in the catching. As we talked to Alex Trevino just a couple of days ago, how much more comfortable he is throwing the ball with the help of the pitchers, and it all goes back to hard work in that department. Certainly, John at third base has mentioned the fact that he feels a lot more comfortable there. So if that is so, we can hopefully see a better bat from Johnny. And when I say that, I'm talking about driving in runs, which he has over the years been so good at, and hopefully he returns to that. A rookie in right field, Jeff Jones, a kid with tremendous power. That's going to be an interesting confrontation for the young man at the major league level after playing in only Class A ball. The rest of the ball club, you look at Gary Reedus. Will he be a very efficient leadoff man? It's going to be a question mark. And certainly, we hope some of those questions will be answered very, very soon here in the 83 season. And if they are, as I've pointed out before, it could be a very, very interesting and productive year for the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, Mario Soto, for the second consecutive year, gets the assignment to start this opener. If you remember back to early April last year, Tom Seaver was to pitch that opening day game against the Chicago Cubs. Because of injury, he was unable to go. Soto started and dropped a 3-2 decision to the Chicago Cubs, although pitching very well. He gave up home runs to Bump Wills and Keith Moreland, and the Cubs came away with a 1-run opening day victory. Only the second loss for Cincinnati in the last 9 opening day ball games. The Reds have had great success over the last almost 10 years, and they hope to be able to pull it off here today against a ball club that amazed the baseball world in 1982 by running off a record 13 consecutive victories out of the gate. And I'm sure Joe Torre, being the realist that he is, cannot expect that that will happen again. Brett Butler will lead it off for the Atlanta Braves. Young man who is blessed with an outstanding amount of speed. And boy, he had some kind of spring for this Atlanta ball club. Left-handed batter, Soto collecting his thoughts on the mound. Stars and stripes blowing lightly above the scoreboard atop the stadium in center field. Mario with a wind and the pitch. It is swung on and popped up foul off of third base. Johnny Bench going over. It's out of play, and the 1983 baseball season is underway. Well, Soto is already one pitch ahead of what happened last year. The first pitch he threw to begin that season, Bump Wills deposited in the right field seats for a leadoff home run. So Butler down a strike as we check the Reds defensively. Danny Dreesen at first, Ronnie Oster at second, Johnny Bench drawn in at third base. A shortstop is Davey Concepcion. In left field, rookie Gary Reedus, and center Eddie Milner. In right, rookie Jeff Jones, and Trevino behind the plate. The pitch is lined to right field, a base hit. Jones trying to cut it off. It'll go to the wall. Butler with that great speed heading towards second, and he's opened the ball game with a double to right field.
Marty, the defense on the Braves, particularly Butler, you play him almost straight away, if anything, but I would have to imagine that was a changeup that he got up and in a little bit, and certainly that's what's going to happen.
Well, it was interesting, Joe Torre's comments in the Braves clubhouse earlier today facing a pitcher of the caliber of Mario Soto. He was asked, will you play for an early run? He said, absolutely we will. He said, if we get a chance, we will rely on fundamental baseball and try to get that early first run. Let's see if they do that. And Ramirez squares to butt, and he bounces it foul behind the plate. So Torre making good on his prediction. If the Braves had a chance to score early, he's got Ramirez up there trying to move Butler over to third base for the likes of Claudell Washington and Dale Murphy. Mario checking back at second base. He's at the belt. His one-strike pitch. Ramirez bunts it along the third base side. A fair ball. Bench picks it up, throws on to first. Oster covering. They get the out on Ramirez at first, and that'll be a 5-4 sacrifice bunt as Butler moves on to third base.
Marty, it looked like that ball would have definitely gone foul had John let it go, but of course, you think of the out. You certainly want to get that out, and that's exactly what they did.
So Atlanta's knocking on the door. They've got Brett Butler stationary at third base, and here's left-handed batting Claudell Washington. Hit .266 in the 82 season with 16 home runs and 80 runs batted in. Batted .254 this spring. Homered 3 times and drove in 10 runs. The Reds infield will pull in tight. With 1 out and the runner at third base, the pitch, Washington takes it low for a ball. The umpires, we've got behind the plate, veteran John Kibler. At first base, Bruce Spanky Fremming. At second, Terry Tata. And Charlie Williams over at third. Butler takes the lead. Soto sights a sign. He's down a ball, no strikes, pitching to Washington. It's taken in there for strike 1 call. Now we had all the accustomed pregame ceremonies down on the field this afternoon. The first pitch thrown out by Master Chief Jim Brewington, chief of the boat of the USS Cincinnati, that nuclear submarine that carried the opening day baseball underwater for more than 50,000 miles on its way to Riverfront Stadium. Fly ball left field. Reedus moving toward the line. Butler tagging. Here's a catch. Here comes a throw. It is not going to be in time. Sacrifice fly to left field by Claudell Washington, and the Atlanta Braves take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Marty, that was a tough throw, and a good throw by Reedus, but being off to the left of the plate, Alex tried to reach and make the tag, and it was a tough play for him, and nothing wrong with that at all. It was just a tough play because it was so far off, and Alex had no chance to hold him off the plate. He had to reach and try to come back, so no problems at all there.
But as you said, under the circumstances, a very good throw. So 2 down, a run in for Atlanta, and here's one of the biggies, left fielder Dale Murphy. Soto to the plate, and it is swung on and fouled back. Well, they're taking a shot at us early here. Not been for that plexiglass over to our left, it would have picked off our official scorer Glenn Sample, Roger Rule, Ron Roth, and Ed Kennedy. They'd have picked off 4 of them in one fell swoop. Swing and a miss on the pitch away, and Murphy's quickly behind at 0-2. All he did last year was club 36 home runs, knock in 109 runs, and bat .281. Outfield deep. He can take him out of here to all fields. Soto will try to put him away as he throws, and Murphy pops it up, and it'll be in play. Around the plate, Trevino waiting, and he's got it. In foul territory, the inning is over. 1 run, 1 hit. At the end of a half inning of baseball, the opening game of the year. Atlanta won, and Cincinnati coming to bat. Well, needless to say, it's good to get the baseball season underway for 1983, and the Reds will be here at Riverfront for 5 more games on this homestand. The Braves are here Wednesday night for a 7:35 game, Bruce Pereni against Pascual Perez. Then it's the Cubs for a big weekend series. High school night on Friday night, afternoon games at 2:15 on Saturday and Sunday, and then a 12:35 business day special next Monday. You can purchase your tickets in advance at any of the more than 50 Reds ticket agencies. In Dayton at Reich's downtown at the Dayton Mall. In Columbus at all Central ticket locations, including area Sears stores. In Indianapolis at Ross and Babcock, Sears and LS Air stores. And in Louisville and Lexington at Dawhares. Well, the Reds are down a run. They're coming to bat here in the bottom of the first inning against right-hander Phil Niekro, a 17-game winner in 1982. He lost but 4 times and sported an earned run average of .361. Rookie Gary Reedus, one of 2 first-year players in the Reds' opening day lineup, ready to lead it off. The knuckleballer throws, and the pitch is taken on the inside, and that was a knuckleball. It's over for a called strike. Reedus had the super year at Indianapolis last year, batting .333 with 24 homers and 93 RBIs. The strike 1 pitch to him, and that's taken inside and high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Reedus, Milner, Concepcion in the bottom half of the first inning. Gary in the spring batted .256, homered 5 times, and that led the club in that department and knocked in 10 runs. Niekro's 1-1 pitch, and it swung on and fouled back and over the screen. Opening day assignments here at Riverfront Stadium. Nothing new for Phil Niekro. In fact, this is the 4th time that he has started an opener in this ballpark. Lost the 80 opener as a starter, won the 71 game as a starter. His 1-2 pitch, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes, and was not involved in the decision in 1974, pitching in relief. That game, the Reds won in 11 innings at 7-6 when Pete Rose scored from second base on a Buzz Capra wild pitch. And that was a game that in the first inning, Hank Aaron, with a 3-run homer off Jack Billingham, tied Babe Ruth's record. Pitch is a little bit high, and Niekro has gone the distance. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Reds trying to get the speedy Reedus aboard here. He can make things happen once he gets on base. Necro's 3-2 is on the way to the plate. It swung on and lined to shortstop. Ramirez climbs the ladder and picks it off. He was playing Gary in the hole, and he leaped off the AstroTurf and speared the line drive. Here's center fielder Eddie Milner. This reminder, this copyrighted broadcast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. The announcers on this broadcast are employed by the Cincinnati Reds. One down, 1-0 Atlanta. Left-handed batting Milner bluffs a bunt, takes a knuckleball for a strike as Horner charges from third and Chambliss comes from first. Middle infielders for the Braves, Hubbard at second, Ramirez at short, Murphy in left field, Butler in center, Washington in right field, and Benedict behind the plate. Eddie takes it inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Necro, who had some early spring shoulder problems, but they cleared up. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's down and in for a ball. 2-1 to count on Milner. In fact, a number of Braves pitchers had either elbow or shoulder problems during spring training, but most of them have seen those problems clear up, with the exception of Tommy Boggs, who was left behind in Florida. Swung on, slow bouncing ball first. Chambliss has it, takes a quick left turn. He gets it put out himself, and they're quickly 2 men out. The batter will be Dave Concepcion. Don't forget, the first Senior Citizen Day on the Reds' home schedule is next Monday. It'll be the Reds against Lee Elia's Chicago Cubs in a 12:35 business day special. Reds fans 65 and older can purchase 550 reserve seats for only $250. So 2 outs, bases are empty. Reedus is lined to short. Milner is grounded to first. Davey, who got the silver bat in the National League, is the best hitting shortstop in this league last year with a .287 batting average, takes it low for a ball. Had an outstanding spring that saw him bat .347 with a home run and 12 runs batted in. Necro's 1-0 pitch. Swung on, fly ball, center field. Butler drifting back, short of the warning track. He pounds the glove and makes the catch. The Reds are out in order after a 1 inning of baseball at Riverfront. Atlanta 1 and Cincinnati 0. The pitch. Swung on. Get out of here! Right field. It's going to be a 3-2 ball game. Ronnie Oster has lit him up at Riverfront as he jumps on Necro's 1-1 delivery and lines it out of here to right field. He'll touch them all, and Cincinnati, with 1 swing of the bat, trails by only a run. And it is hit back into left field, and it is going to be out of here. Gary Reedus drilling a payoff pitch over the left field fence. And again, the Reds are to within a run. He got 5 of them in spring training, and that was no doubt. When that ball left the infield, it was climbing. Murphy started back, turned, and watched it get out of here. And it's a 4-3 ball game. Necro trying to keep a 1-run lead. Davey, a good lead at second. And the pitch to Bench, and it's swung out in line to center field, base hit. Davey has to hurry, and he'll make it easy. A tie ball game. Johnny Bench drills a line drive hit up the middle. Butler charged, came up ready to fire, and then apparently felt like he had no chance at the plate. Elected to make the safe throw, and that was into second base to keep Bench out of scoring position. So the stolen base set it up. Johnny Bench brings him around, and here's Danny Dreesen as we start from scratch. Here's a smash to right field, base hit. Eddie Milner with a 2-out single to right. And the hits are even at 5 apiece. Now Davey Concepcion. Right-hander checks. There goes a runner. Taken for a strike. The throw down to second. Nope. Stolen base for Milner. Benedict got it there on a hop. and that's all the advantage that Eddie Milner needed as he steals second easily. The pitch was taken for a call strike, and it's 1-1 on Concepcion. So Davey now would like to do here in the 8th what Johnny Bench did back in the 6th following a stolen base. This crowd of 42, almost 43,000 have seen a good one today. Bedrosian a backward glance at second and on to the plate. And Davey lines one into right center field. Base hit. Here comes Milner. The Reds lead it 5-4. Dave Concepcion, who throughout his career here in Cincinnati has been one of the premier clutch hitters in Major League Baseball, and he has done it on opening day 1983. For Cincinnati, and the inning continues with a presence at the plate of Johnny Bench. 5-4 Cincinnati as we move to the top half of the 9th inning. Tommy Hume is on the mound, and Wayne Krenschicke, he's playing third base and batting number 9 in the batting order. Jerry Royster leads it off. Hume's first pitch is on the way to the right-handed batter, and it's taken for a strike on the inside corner. Royster last year batted .295 with a couple of homers and 25 RBIs, and boy, what a job he did down the stretch for Joe Torre's ball club. He swings and he misses, strike 2. Ben Hayes, Bill Shearer, right-hander, left-hander respectively. Throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen, and Gene Garber, the man with that corkscrew windup, is doing it for Atlanta. Hume quickly 2 strikes in front. He sights a sign from Trevino. He pours it plateward, and he struck him out swinging. The Reds here in the 9th inning, a third of the way home, and stepping in is center fielder and leadoff batter Brett Butler. Hume winds, he kicks and he fires, and this one bounced slowly. First base side of the mound. Tommy has it, throws, 2 out. Now Rafael Ramirez. Garber has finished throwing. He's coming into the dugout. The Reds and their fans are hoping that he will not get a chance to pitch today. This roar starts up. Hume throws it 2-2. Ground ball to third. Krenschicke throws, and this one belongs to the Reds. They pour out of the dugout to congratulate Tommy Hume. The Reds, very impressive this afternoon. They made the most of 6 base hits. They come from behind on a Davey Concepcion base hit in the bottom of the 8th inning that broke a tie and give the Reds a 5-4 victory. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, this 1983 opening game at Riverfront Stadium certainly did not start out well for the Reds at all. With Mario Soto on the mound, Brett Butler opened the season with a double to right field. Rafael Ramirez bunted him to third, and Claudel Washington sacrifice fly to left field made it Braves 1, Reds nothing. In the top half of the 2nd inning, Bob Horner led off and reached on an error by Davey Concepcion, and then Chris Chambliss exploded one out of here to right center field, and the Braves very quickly were out in front 3-0. But the Reds started the road back. In the bottom of the 2nd, Johnny Bench led off with a double that found the gap in right center. 1 out later, Ron Oster absolutely mashed a pitch from Phil Niekro, a line drive home run to right field, and just like that, it was a 1-run game at 3-2. The scoring stayed that way until the 6th inning, when with 1 out on an 0-2 pitch, Mario Soto hit second baseman Glenn Hubbard. He went on down to first base. Bruce Benedict then followed with a base on balls. And Hubbard at first stole second, or tried to steal second. It appeared that he was out a mile on a good throw by Alex Trevino, but Hubbard kicked the ball out of Ron Oster's glove for an error charged to the Red second baseman, and Hubbard went all the way to third. Benedict then drew a base on balls, and Soto committed a balk, allowing Hubbard to score and give the Braves a 4-2 lead. The bottom half of the 6th inning, the Reds came out smoking. Gary Reedus exploded a home run to left field to make it 4-3. 1 out later, Davey Concepcion drew a base on balls. He stole second, and Johnny Bench delivered again a base hit up the middle to tie the game at 4-4. Soto worked out of a jam in the top of the 7th inning and then got the Braves out in a 1-2-3-8, the only time he did it in the 8 innings in which he pitched today. Then in the bottom of the 8th inning, with newcomer Steve Bedrosian on the mound for the Atlanta Braves, The leadoff batter, Rafael Landestoy, pinch hit for Mario Soto, lined to shortstop. Gary Reedus then lined out to center fielder Brett Butler, but Eddie Milner stepped in and grounded a hard single into right field. The Red speed again came into play as Milner stole second base, thus setting the stage for this from Dave Concepcion. Bedrosian a backward glance at second and on to the plate. And Davey lines one into right center field. Base hit. Here comes Milner. The Reds lead it 5-4. Big base hit by Concepcion. He delivered the tie-breaking run home. Then it was left up to Tommy Hume, and he did what he has done so effectively for the last few years for Cincinnati, and that's to come out of the bullpen and knock off the Atlanta Braves 1-2-3 in the top half of the ninth inning. He struck out Jerry Royster. He got Butler on a comebacker to the mound, and the final out of the game when Rafael Ramirez grounded to Wayne Krenchicki at third base. The Reds had 5 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors, and left 2. The Braves had 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and stranded 7. Mario Soto picked up the victory. Tommy Hume got the save. Steve Bedrosian was saddled with the defeat. You can draw a lot of things out of this ball game, and as Joe so aptly put it, it is just one of 162 games on the Major League schedule. But this was a kind of game that more often than not the Reds lost in 1982, the close ball games. Today, they not only won a one-run ball game, but they had to come from behind to do it, and they did exactly that. The two clubs will rest up tomorrow, and then they'll go at it again in the concluding game of the series in a 7:35 start on Wednesday night. We'll have Bruce Bereni starting for Cincinnati, and his mound opponent will be, like Bereni, a right-hander in Pascual Perez. Again, the reminder that plenty of seats are available, and we'll have all the action for you on most of these same stations Wednesday night beginning at 7:05 Cincinnati time. We hope you'll join us. Once again, the final score today in the opening game of the 1983 baseball season, a game that took 2 hours and 22 minutes to play before a crowd of 42,892. The Reds 5 and the Braves 4.